welcome back to Stauffer Garage, guys. Today we're going to be tackling this filthy Jeep Patriot, and honestly I wanted to show some different angles for you to get a better idea of what goes into actually removing seats. It's a common question I get from you guys is how to remove seats from your car, and to be honest, it's not a very often done process. Obviously for my details I always do it, but if you're trying to do it on your own car, it's maybe like one of those once a year things, or maybe once ever in your car if you get it new or if you have one of those crazy spills. But most of the time these connectors all go out just with one single push of a button and they disconnect from the car or disconnect from the seat. And I always recommend, obviously disconnect the battery so that way you don't have to worry about any shorting, any popping of fuses, or any potential airbag issues that you might experience. But this is the main reason why I do pull the seats, is this stuff underneath them that you would never get to, especially this poured out dip cup, which is always just a fun thing to find. But yeah, all this dog hair, everything, we're gonna get it all removed from this car. Plus it gives me tons of room to work inside of it. I don't know if you guys ever play scratch offs, but the only thing this reminds me of is when I was a kid, my mom used to buy these for us at like Easter and that sort of thing. So yep, these are all losers. No winner chicken dinner. If you guys didn't see this at the very beginning, this is a needle. At least it's covered. It doesn't look like it's used, but gotta be careful when you detail cars. You never know what you're gonna find. So if you missed it earlier on last week, I announced that the second channel is officially live, which is going to be all of these videos slowed down, just real live footage with all of those sounds from the vacuum cleaner, pressure washer, no music, no nothing. So it's those raw video clips that you guys requested. So if you want to check those out, I have an iCard up above to that specific channel, and you can head on over there after this video and subscribe and turn on those notifications, because I'm going to be pumping out probably 3 to 4 videos a week. So that way you guys can see all of those shots and enjoyment in those for ASMR reasons. To be honest, when I edit them, I usually almost fall asleep, which is awesome. So make sure you guys head on over there, go check it out, and subscribe. So in the last video I did on Thursday, it was showing you how I clean out my vacuums, and this is the sort of stuff that I use my vacuum to suck up, because it's a lot easier, one, and cleaner, so that way I'm not wasting towels and getting them soaked up with whatever this stuff is. But this is what happens to my vacuum and why it gets so nasty, is sucking up stuff like this that I have no idea what it actually is. Now, for a little tip for you guys, if you are vacuuming and your attachment gets dirty or gets some sort of liquid on it, you obviously don't want to carry that over to a new part of the carpet, so that way it stains it there too. So I usually just take a microfiber towel and let the vacuum almost suck it up a little bit, and then kind of pull it back out of the vacuum and wipe off the surface, and it usually takes care of pretty much all of the liquid or dirt or whatever gets on those vacuum attachments and gets them cleaned. Now I want you guys to comment below. I thought about this the other day when I heard the song from Bare Naked Ladies, If I Had $1 Million, which is a great song. And if you've never heard of that band, I might just be old, but that is a awesome song. And I wanted to ask you guys, if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? Would you donate it to charity? Would you buy a bunch of stonks? Would you buy a new car? Would you pay off your bills? Whatever it is, go ahead and comment down below. What would you do if I gave you $1 million today? So I have no idea what this powder stuff is on the seat, but it was pretty crazy how it pretty much just completely removed from the surface itself. I thought initially that it was more of a deep set stain, but it was some sort of powder just on the surface in certain spots that needs to just be vacuumed up, which is awesome. Now, because there was a bit of a different set of different types of stains inside this car, there was dirt, there was, bodily fluids probably, there was the oil, transmission fluid, lots of different types of substances. So in my sprayer, I mixed hot water with a good amount of all-purpose cleaner, a little bit of Dawn dish soap, and then my typical extractor powder that I use that's great for carpets. And with all of that mixed together, it kind of created this degreasing type oil breakdown type agent, and it worked really, really well. You guys will see after, and these after shots of especially the seats, I was really, really happy with how it turned out, and I'm going to try to duplicate the recipe for the rest of my videos that I ever make again, because it kicked butt at getting all the stains out as much as possible. Now this driver's side floor was probably the worst spot on the carpet itself, so I took about 2 to 3 passes. I didn't film all of it here, but I definitely took 2 to 3 passes of spraying my fluid, using the drill brush to try to agitate and get as much of this dirt out as possible. But you do run into issues with staining, which I'll kind of explain further what options you might have if you run into a similar situation. So that bucket pour was literally just from this one side of the carpet, and you guys can kind of see here there's still some browning, but majority of the carpet looks a lot better than it did. And what'll happen is sometimes, even if I hit this again with a drill brush and extracted it like 5 more times, after just doing it twice, this stain probably won't come out. And that's just because it has been dyed into the carpet. So an alternative that you can do, and I don't have the opportunity to show you in this video, but if the carpet was completely dried after this extraction, completely clean, you can actually buy carpet spray paint almost. It's carpet dye, but it comes in an aerosol can, and you can spray it on there and essentially re-dye your carpet to fix that sort of thing if you can't get a stain out. And regardless, whatever extractor you're using, if you're trying to get a carpet stain out, doing a single pass initially just by pulling back and spraying on your extractor fluid is great, but then I recommend going back forward, spraying it on without sucking up that fluid, and then kind of going back and forth to agitate further, but also make sure you get that liquid deep down into the roots of the fibers to get as much dirt sucked up as possible. Now, if you're wondering what products I use in my videos, I have them all listed in the description box below for you to check out, whether it's for my own personal brand, Fox Clean, or if you were looking for the links to the products which are located on Amazon. So those are all listed down below for you guys. And in next Thursday's video, I will be announcing that VacMaster Beast vacuum winner from last video that you guys entered in to win. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that video next week to find out if you actually won the vacuum. Now, like I mentioned, I had a concoction of products that I used for the actual extraction portion of this video. But what I tried to do this time is I saw it on Mad Detailing. He did it where he used the drill brush after spraying on the fluid once, but then he sprayed on the fluid again and used the drill brush a second time. And it seemed to work really, really well with removing a lot of those deep embedded stains. And I will say that after trying that method, it worked. So hats off to Foster for that one, because this thing definitely came out amazing, and I was really happy with the results of these seats. Now my extractor, I just run plain old hot water, which is great because it helps with removing any like solidified stuff inside the fibers themselves, any oils with removing those. But also I don't even have a heated extractor. I take jugs of hot water that I get from my house as hot as possible, and then just use those to fill up the extractor and keep it warm. Now when it comes to drying these seats, obviously I wish it was summertime in Ohio, but right now it is 34 degrees outside. For this one, I actually just use my heater in my garage, and then I have a fan that I blow air over. And the biggest suggestion that I have is just get airflow over any of the parts of your car that you've extracted and have wet. Airflow will always help you with drying it if you don't have the opportunity to set it outside in the sun to expedite the drying process. I found it weird that in this truck that the passenger side was worse, so I don't know if he had an animal that rode in the car frequently, like you see in the movies, or something happened, but the passenger seat was a lot worse than the driver's seat. And I just wish sometimes, well, I don't know if I wish or I want to know, but I'm always curious as what would cause the stains that I find in these cars. So maybe it's best that I don't know and I just clean them and keep my mouth shut. But yeah, I've sometimes questioned what caused this. Whenever I'm doing these details, I actually seldomly listen to music or anything whatsoever. If anything, it's a podcast every once in a while, but a lot of the times I just kind of bask in the noises and the quietness of a detail because it helps me with thinking, kind of just getting some thoughts together on what has been going on in my head. But one thing that I was thinking about during this video is I can't wait for concerts to start again. I'm not sure if it's going to happen this year or next year, but I'm hoping that Foo Fighters continues to tour, but that would be one band I would love to see before they stop touring. And I hope to God that that is something that happens soon, and this whole COVID thing just kind of disappears, if you will.
One thing I wanted to mention to you guys is that all of you that are subscribed compared to not subscribed, those analytics I get to see on the back end for each video. And a couple weeks ago, I did the nastiest detail I have ever done by far. And all of you guys that watched it know exactly which one I'm talking about. This is the analytics from it of how many of you guys that are subscribed actually watch it compared to not subscribed. And I need that subscribe number to kind of go up through the roof a little, because if you guys did not see that, you're missing out. That was the best video by far, nastiest car I've ever done. Go watch it after this video. I'm gonna have it in an iCard at the end. I'm gonna have it in the iCard up here or end screen, all that stuff. It's gonna be there for you guys to watch, and I need you to make sure you head over there to watch it. I wanna see that number start going up for all these videos. I want you all that subscribed, make sure you don't miss an episode, so turn on those notifications, and cheers, let's go.
These center console pieces are always a little bit tricky to detail just because of how little surface area they are around the corners. So sometimes it's hard to actually get the extractor to seal and suck up the fluid around them. So a little trick that I try to use is, cover half of it, the opening, and just leave half of it available for it to suck up just from that one specific spot. It definitely helps getting some of those tighter areas that are really hard to get to. Now for the interior panels in the car, it's just, the typical all-purpose cleaner, detailing brush, and microfiber towel to get all those surface spots clean. And this one didn't have a ton of grime located on the steering wheel or in different spots. It was more just dusty and covered in like a thin layer of dirt pretty much everywhere, which was nice. It wasn't one of those processes where it took forever because of smoker's tar or grease buildup, like I've had in past cars very recently. So this one was a pretty fast cleanup when it came to the dashboard. And I always get the question of spraying liquid on the electronics of a car. And one thing to keep in mind, and in my past life as a test engineer, the thing is with newer electronics and newer cars, they're all liquid sealed and they test them in humid climates where literally water will be dripping off of the connectors and pretty much the entire inside of the vehicle. And it's just, there's not a ton of liquid that you're spraying on them to cause any issues. You're wiping 99% of it up, and if any does drip back in there, they're always back shielded with a rubber grommet, essentially keeping the wire and the electrical connection separated. So don't worry, don't go crazy, but if you do spray a little bit on them like I do in my videos, it's not the end of the world. You should be completely fine, because if you think about it, if you go through a drive-through in the middle of a rainstorm, that water is going to fall on your window switches and you never have problems anyways. So keep in mind, just don't go crazy. You obviously don't want to pour a bucket of water on them, but a little bit is not going to obviously cause any issues whatsoever. And because this is a full bench across the middle, reassembly is a little bit tricky. You actually have to load all 3 seats in, tip them forward and back to connect them all together across, and then you can bolt them down to the floor. But here are those after shots of this detail, and this is one of my favorite ones. I enjoy cleaning this one because of the amount of carpet and seats that need to be extracted, and with them being a lighter color, you can definitely tell where the stains are. You can see how much extra you need to do in terms of double passes. This is definitely one of my favorite end results in terms of just pure extraction. I was really happy with how much of the stains were removed, the original color coming back in a lot of spots except for the driver spot. That was, like I mentioned, one of the spots that got stained, but everywhere else turned out really, really nice, and I was really happy with the end result. Now, like I mentioned, I have the second channel, which is just pure ASMR, long length, raw video files from, extraction to vacuuming with all of those noises. That channel is officially live, and I have it linked above in the iCard, and I'll have it on this end screen here coming up shortly. But make sure you guys go back and subscribe and watch all of the old videos, especially the dirtiest detail I had. In last week's video, I actually showed you how I clean all of my detailing tools. So seeing inside the vacuum cleaner and how much nasty stuff is in there, I show you how I deep cleaned all of those different types of items. So make sure you guys check that out as well, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.